Welcome to a series of podcasts in which we interview British Cardiovascular Society executives. My name is Vanessa Cobb and I'm a North East Thames cardiology trainee, and it's my pleasure to meet and interview Dr. Jim Hall today. He is a Middlesbrough cardiology consultant, and also he is Vice President for Training at the British Cardiovascular Society and Chair of the SAC at the Royal College of Physicians. Dr. Hall, thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Please call me Jim. It's a bit less formal.
Okay, so my first question will be, what attracted you to becoming a doctor?
It's an interesting question which I often get asked, and really it goes back to when I was at school. It was human physiology and human biology which really interested me. I was fascinated by the way the human body worked, and I thought a way of being able to study that for the rest of my career would lead into medicine quite easily.
Excellent. And what was it in particular that attracted you to cardiology?
I was always, I think, destined to be a physician rather than a surgeon. I don't think my manual skills were that good. And I enjoyed the more intellectual challenge of making a diagnosis and interpreting investigations. But then again, the practical side became more attractive as you felt you could be doing things for patients. And it's really that combination which I think attracts a lot of people to cardiology.
And did you have any mentors that encouraged you to down the line of cardiology?
I've been privileged to work with a lot of really good doctors, good scientists, good cardiologists throughout my training. And there's been no one particular mentor who's guided my career. And what I've tried to do is look to role models and think, yes, there are aspects of that particular doctor's skills that I'd like to emulate, and I would like to think that I've taken little bits from all these good people and hopefully none of their bad habits.
So I'm not really sure what the SAC does and what role it has. Would you be able to explain more to me?
I'll try and do that as succinctly as possible. It may take an hour or two to get through all the details, but the Specialist Advisory Committee for Cardiology is the body which sets the national standards for training in cardiology. And I got involved with it really through being the training program director for the Northern Deanery. I've always had an interest in training and its organisation. And I was training program director for the Northern Deanery and invited by the Royal College to sit as the Northern Deanery representative on the Specialist Advisory Committee. And then I've kind of worked my way up through that, being secretary and now chairman. It's an interesting grouping, which is a mixture of training program directors who are representative from across the UK, not just England, and also members co-opted for their specialist expertise, particularly from the affiliated groups of the British Cardiovascular Society. And there's a strong overlap of the SAC and the British Cardiovascular Society, and that's why now the post of chairman of the SAC and vice president for training of the British Cardiovascular Society are coterminous in order to make sure that we work together to a common agenda so that the education which is provided by the BCS is based on the curriculum, and that the curriculum is designed for cardiology trainees to make them as good a cardiologist as possible, to make them fit to be consultant cardiologists, but also to be looking to the future of the development of the specialty so that they are future-proofed to some extent, so that the skills set that you have when you become a consultant enable you to continue learning and developing over the next 20 to 30 years of your career.
So are there other functions for the SAC?
Yes, as well as writing the curriculum, which sets the standards and the organisation for training, the SAC has a role as a kind of external advisor to deaneries if they're having any problems with providing their training. So we have a role in the quality management of training. We also have a role in the organisation in terms of approving out-of-programme experience, periods of out-of-programme research, and if trainees have specific issues, there are BJCA representatives on the SAC. We've got 2 trainees, and any difficulties that they're not able to resolve locally, they can channel through to get the advice of the SAC. So we hope to be involved in all those aspects of training providing advice, providing guidance and setting policy.
So with the increasing trend for specialisation within cardiology, do you then see a role for post-CCT fellowships?
Subspecialisation is here to stay. It may and probably will evolve over the coming years, but you know the advanced modules that we have at the moment, which are EP, heart failure, adult congenital heart disease, coronary intervention and imaging in all its modalities. The training programs are designed to make you fully equipped as a consultant with those advanced modules, those subspecialty interests embedded within it. You will be trained to be a consultant with a special interest in whatever. If people want to supplement that by periods out of programme, particularly abroad, which people like to do, then we encourage that. That is a good thing. That will strengthen British cardiology, which is our main focus, is to make the consultant cardiologists of the future as good as we can, because you'll be looking after us as we get older. So we're looking forward to having fully trained specialists. It, however, is not essential to go abroad. It is not essential to do other fellowships abroad. And whether you choose to do those pre-CCT as part of your training program or post-CCT is entirely up to the individual. A lot of times people will involve themselves in research during that period. Anything to further their career, and that will be encouraged.
So the curriculum continues to be updated. How does everyone, including the trainers and trainees, keep abreast of the changes?
That's a really good point. We update the curriculum every 3 years, it seems, at the moment. It's determined by the GMC as to how frequently we need to do it. But it is important that trainees and trainers keep up to date. All these documents are in the public domain and available on the PTB website. We put updates on the BCS website, and each of the affiliated groups produce précis for their own subspecialists to keep them up to date. We run curriculum implementation training programs, which is directed at training program directors and their specialty training committees, but the hope is that that cascades down within deaneries, so everybody keeps up to date with what the new workplace-based assessments are, what the new items on the curriculum are, and really how the whole programme fits together. So we do our best to get the message out there as much as possible. We also have a session each year at the British Cardiovascular Society annual conference. There are trainee-led programmes led by the BJCA. So we do everything we can to get it out there, but I often get the message back that not everybody's 100% up to date with the latest version of the curriculum, which is a great pain for me, having spent all that time writing a 176-page document. But I'm sure everybody will now go away and read it thoroughly.
So what do you envisage a consultant cardiologist or trained cardiologist will look like in the year 2020?
Ooh, that's a good one. Crystal ball gazing, not my strongest point, but I think it will not look hugely different to current consultants. In that if I can think back to what cardiology was like when I started training some time ago, the key thing that we do is look after patients. And it's that patient interaction which drives us forward all the time and is one of the most pleasurable parts of being a cardiologist. The technology will change. The technology will improve. There'll be new things that we're doing which we haven't even thought of now. And the diagnostics will change. But the basic thing is that patients will come to us with cardiovascular problems. We will explain it to them, we'll work out what the best options are for them, and we'll put it to patients. So that basic human interaction will always be there. The technology will improve, it will drive, and it will probably be technology which drives subspecialisation. But the basics of cardiovascular medicine, the fundamentals, I don't think will change hugely.
Well, thank you very much indeed for coming to join us today. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you very much, Vanessa.